Right now, in April 2026, something is happening that most Americans are completely missing. And by the time they figure it out, it is going to cost them a lot more than just money. The people who are ahead of this, and there are more of them than you think, they are not panicking. They are not hoarding. They are simply buying specific items right now before the window closes. And when you finish this video, you're going to know exactly what those items are, why they matter, and why the timing has never been more urgent than it is today. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because this is one of those videos that people come back to 6 months later and say, I wish I had watched that sooner. And if you are new here, welcome to Simple Secrets Daily. Hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell so you never miss a video like this one. We put out content that actually helps you protect your household, your money, and your family, and you do not want to miss what is coming next. So let us get into it. Here is what is actually happening right now. Inflation, which seemed like it was finally cooling down, just spiked again. Consumer prices jumped in March 2026, with the latest figures from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showing a 3.3% inflation rate for the 12 months ending March 2026. That is up from 2.4% just 1 month earlier in February. And the reason for that jump is connected directly to conflict in the Middle East, which sent energy costs rising sharply across the entire economy. Now, the Strait of Hormuz was announced as reopened on April 17th, 2026. And if you heard that news and thought, okay, prices should come back down now, that is a completely understandable reaction. But here is what they are not telling you clearly enough. Relief does not arrive overnight. It takes weeks, sometimes months, for tankers to reach refineries, for fuel to get processed, for supply chains to replenish. So there is a window right now, a real measurable window, where prices on specific items are going to keep climbing before they eventually ease. And the 34 items I'm going to walk you through in this video are the ones you want to have already bought before that happens. Let us start with the one item that almost everyone thinks about last, but should be thinking about first. A portable solar generator, not a decorative toy. I mean a real lithium iron phosphate powered solar station capable of running your essential home appliances. The Energy Information Administration has already projected wholesale electricity prices reaching $51 per megawatt hour in 2026, an 8.5% increase over the prior year. The grid is under more pressure than it has been in decades, partly because of data centers, partly because of rising natural gas costs, and outages are becoming more frequent as a result. The best units on the market right now, things like the EcoFlow Delta Pro or the Jackery Explorer series, can store anywhere from 1 to 5 kilowatt hours of power, enough to run a refrigerator, charge phones, power lights, and keep a CPAP machine running through a full night. And the genius of owning one is that it pays for itself in two ways at once. It saves you money on electricity during normal life right now, and it protects your household completely when the grid goes down. The second item works alongside that solar generator and is its smaller, more portable companion, a folding solar panel combined with a high-capacity power bank. Brands like Anchor, Big Blue, and Goal Zero make panels that fold down to the size of a thick book and open up to deliver 60 to 100 watts of charging power in full sun. That is enough to keep phones, GPS devices, and emergency radios running indefinitely as long as daylight is available. And after that initial purchase, the power it generates costs you absolutely nothing. You put it in your car, on your balcony, in your emergency bag, and it just works. Item 3 is water filtration, and this is where most people chronically underinvest because they assume municipal water will always flow cleanly. History has proven that assumption very wrong, over and over again. The LifeStraw personal filter removes bacteria, parasites, and microplastics from contaminated water. It filters up to 1,000 gallons with no batteries, no electricity, just suction. But for home use, you want something with more volume capacity. A gravity-fed countertop filter like the Berkey system or the Sawyer Squeeze can process several gallons per hour without any pumping effort. And for true redundancy, you layer in a UV purifier and a set of purification tablets alongside your main filter. That combination covers every possible contamination scenario, regardless of what the source of the water is. Item 4 is water storage, and this is separate from filtration because the ability to store water before a disruption is the single fastest way to protect your household in the first 72 hours of any emergency. Food-grade, BPA-free barrels, ranging from 5 gallons to 55 gallons, are still available and still affordable right now. Tariffs and supply chain pressure are nudging those prices up a little more every week, so the time to buy is before you need them, not during a crisis, when store shelves empty within hours of the first news headline. Item 5 connects directly to the oil price shock. A quality manual hand pump for any fuel storage tank you plan to maintain at home. When fuel prices finally do stabilize, having the ability to store your own diesel or heating oil supply and pump it without electricity could save you hundreds of dollars per year. Higher oil prices do not just affect your gas tank. They ripple out through fertilizer, food production, manufacturing, and transportation. And having even modest fuel independence at home puts you several steps ahead. Item 6 is freeze-dried food, specifically a full 30 to 90-day supply from reputable brands. And I want to be clear, this is not paranoia. This is math. Overall food prices in 2026 are predicted to rise 3.6%, and that forecast was calculated before the full impact of the energy cost spike on fertilizer and food production made its way into the numbers. The reality is that food stored at today's prices is worth more in real purchasing power 6 months from now if those forecasts are correct. Freeze-dried food technology, specifically things like the Harvest Right home freeze dryer, can preserve food for 25 or more years while keeping nutrients intact. For households serious about long-term food and financial security, that is a genuinely transformational investment. While freeze-dried covers your long game, item 7 is your everyday backbone. Bulk dry goods, rice, oats, dried lentils, pasta, dried beans, and whole wheat, stored in sealed Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers inside food-grade 5-gallon buckets. When sealed correctly, these items store safely for 10 to 25 years. And every time grocery prices tick upward, the supply you bought earlier becomes worth more in real purchasing power. This is one of the most practical inflation hedges that exists, and you can start doing it with any grocery budget. Item 8 is cooking oil, and it gets its own spot on this list because oil is both a calorie-dense survival food and one of the most tightly price-linked items to the fuel and fertilizer cycle that has just been supercharged. Olive oil and canola oil last up to 2 years in a cool, dark location. Coconut oil lasts even longer. Buy more than you think you need. The price trajectory on cooking oils is not pointing downward anytime soon. Item 9 is a multi-powered emergency weather radio, one that runs on solar, hand crank, battery, and DC input simultaneously. During major grid disruptions, cell towers and internet connections fail. And when that happens, your weather radio becomes your lifeline to real-time emergency broadcasts, evacuation orders, and situational information that could be the difference between a bad situation and a dangerous one. On quality models, about 1 minute of hand cranking delivers 10 to 15 minutes of radio and flashlight runtime. That is not a gimmick. That is genuine backup power in the most stripped down and reliable form possible. Item 10 takes communication further. A two-way ham radio or GMRS radio for coordinating with neighbors, family members nearby, and emergency services when cell networks go down. During widespread emergencies, cell networks saturate and fail quickly as millions of people try to use them at the same time. Models like the Baofeng UV5R Pro offer 128 programmable channels across dual band frequencies. For shorter range neighborhood coordination, family radio service radios work up to 2 miles and require no license. For longer distances of 5 to 10 miles, GMRS radios offer more power and range, though they do require a license. Item 11 is a vehicle battery jump starter and portable power unit. This might feel like a minor convenience item until you picture yourself stranded with a dead battery during a fuel crisis, with no roadside assistance available and a stressed emergency system that cannot prioritize your call. A compact jump starter rated for engines up to 8-liter gas and 6-liter diesel vehicles fits in your glove box and makes you completely self-reliant in that scenario. In a disaster evacuation, a dead car battery is a problem that can turn dangerous fast. Item 12 is a manual can opener. I know that sounds almost too simple to mention. But during extended power outages, people discover with genuine horror that their entire canned food stockpile is locked behind lids they cannot open because every electric opener is useless, and they never bought a manual one. If you store canned goods, and you should, a reliable manual can opener is absolutely non-negotiable. Item 13 is a cast iron cooking set. A 12-inch skillet and a 5-quart Dutch oven to be specific. Cast iron works equally on gas stoves, wood fires, camp stoves, and open flames outdoors. It lasts effectively forever, improves with age, retains heat longer than any other material, and requires zero electricity. For cooking when the grid is down, nothing comes close to the reliability and versatility of cast iron. Item 14 handles the fuel for that cooking. A compact butane or propane camp stove with a real stockpile of fuel canisters. A stove with no fuel is just a piece of steel. And butane canisters bought today will not be cheaper 6 months from now. Having off-grid cooking options makes an enormous practical difference in any extended emergency. And solid fuel stoves combined with stockpiles of butane, propane, or hexamine tablets ensure you can prepare food safely, regardless of what happens to your mains gas or electricity supply. Item 15 is a quality first aid kit. Not the bargain bin version with 3 bandages and a leaflet, a comprehensive, trauma-capable kit with tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, Israeli bandages, antiseptics, suture strips, and clear instructions on how to use each item. Healthcare costs in America are projected to rise 6 to 7% in 2026, Self-reliant medical preparedness is not paranoia in that environment. It is basic financial protection. If you are finding this valuable, this is a great moment to share this video with someone you care about. One share from you could genuinely help a friend or family member get ahead of what is coming. And drop a comment below. Tell me which of these items you already have and which ones you are going to add first. Your comment actually helps this video reach more people who need to hear this. Item 16 is a stockpile of prescription medications or over-the-counter essentials that your household depends on regularly. Supply chain disruptions caused by the Hormuz closure and rising energy costs are already rippling through pharmaceutical logistics. A 30 to 90-day buffer of the medicines your household relies on could be the most personally critical item on this entire list for many families. Start working with your doctor or pharmacist on this now before availability tightens further. Item 17 is multivitamins and electrolyte supplements. And this is one of the most overlooked items in any emergency supply. Your stockpile of rice, canned goods, and freeze-dried meals keeps you fed in terms of calories, but it does not give your body the micronutrients it needs. Vitamin C and vitamin A are particularly sensitive to heat and time. The B vitamin family becomes less available in heavily processed or long-stored foods, and that imbalance shows up as fatigue, weakened immunity, and slow healing over weeks and months. A good daily multivitamin and electrolyte supply costs almost nothing relative to the protection it provides. Item 18 is emergency Mylar thermal blankets and sub-zero rated sleeping bags. These are lightweight, space-efficient, and capable of retaining 90% of body heat even in extreme cold. During extended power outages in cold climates, losing heat in your home is a genuine health threat. A quality sleeping bag rated for sub-zero temperatures is non-negotiable for any household in a region that experiences real winters. Item 19 is heirloom, non-GMO vegetable seeds in vacuum-sealed storage. And this is where the conversation shifts from short-term survival to long-term financial insulation. Unlike hybrid seeds, heirloom varieties can be saved from each harvest and replanted indefinitely, meaning one purchase becomes a perpetual, self-renewing food source. Choosing heirloom seeds and learning to harvest and save them each season creates a food supply that is completely independent of the supply chain and completely immune to grocery inflation. Item 20 is a rainwater collection system. A 250 to 500 liter food-grade barrel with a diverter kit fitted to a downpipe from your roof can collect enough rainfall from a single modest storm to supply a family of 4 with non-potable water for an entire week. Water you can use for gardening, flushing, and with filtration, drinking. Rainwater harvesting is now legal in most of the United States and encouraged by environmental agencies, and it is one of the most practical water-independent strategies available to any homeowner. Item 21 is a hand-powered grain mill. This is the kind of item your great-grandparents owned as a matter of course, and that most modern households have completely forgotten. Here is why it matters specifically right now. Beef and veal prices were 14.4% higher in February 2026 than they were in February 2025. Protein from animal sources is getting dramatically more expensive, making plant-based whole grains a more important caloric foundation every month. Whole wheat berries stored with oxygen absorbers last up to 25 years. Flour, by comparison, degrades in 1 to 2 years. A hand grain mill like the Country Living Grain Mill converts those long shelf-life wheat berries into fresh flour on demand, with zero electricity required. Item 22 is a rocket stove, a highly efficient combustion device that burns small amounts of wood, twigs, or biomass and produces a concentrated cooking flame. The rocket stove principle operates on insulated combustion chambers that direct airflow to achieve almost complete combustion, reducing fuel consumption by up to 75% compared to a traditional open fire. That means you can cook 3 full meals from a bundle of sticks that would barely sustain 1 meal on a campfire. When fuel must be rationed, this becomes an invaluable piece of equipment. Item 23 is salt in large quantities. And while that sounds almost laughably simple, salt performs 3 irreplaceable functions in a crisis economy. It preserves meat and vegetables through salt curing. It is a universal flavor enhancer that makes any stockpile food substantially more palatable over time. And it has historically served as a barter commodity during economic disruptions. Salt stores indefinitely and costs almost nothing to stockpile. There is no good reason not to have a substantial supply. Item 24 is honey, and this one surprises people every time. Archaeologists found 3,000-year-old honey in Tutankhamun's tomb that was still edible. It is one of the only truly indefinite shelf-life food items known to exist. Beyond its value as a sweetener and calorie source, honey has documented antimicrobial properties. Raw, unfiltered honey, particularly Manuka varieties, has been shown in research to inhibit a wide range of bacteria, making it a genuine first aid item for wound treatment in environments where antibiotics are unavailable. Item 25 is a quality headlamp with rechargeable lithium batteries and a solar recharging case. This feels minor until you spend the third night of a power outage stumbling around your home because every flashlight battery you own is dead. A headlamp keeps both hands completely free for whatever the situation demands, whether that is moving children, operating tools, or managing an emergency by lantern light. Item 26 takes household lighting to the next level. Solar-powered indoor and outdoor lights with rechargeable lithium batteries that charge on windowsills during the day and serve as room lights at night. Zero grid dependence, zero ongoing cost. During extended outages that last days or even weeks, these become one of the most practical quality of life items you own. Item 27 is a quality multi-tool, a Leatherman Signal or Victorinox Swiss tool. When supply chains tighten and replacement goods become expensive or unavailable, your ability to repair, modify, and improvise using what you already own becomes an economic superpower. Pliers, wire cutters, knife blades, a saw, scissors, a file, screwdriver attachments, and in the Leatherman Signals case, a ferro rod fire starter and a whistle, all in a package that fits in your palm and goes everywhere with you. Item 28 is duct tape and paracord. Not as an afterthought, as genuine structural tools, improvised shelter repair, lashing broken items together, reinforcing window coverings against extreme weather, carrying out minor repairs that would otherwise require expensive professional help. Duct tape is the most versatile fix-all material ever manufactured. Paracord is an entire toolkit in a spool. Both are dirt cheap and both store indefinitely. There is no rational reason to not have a serious supply of each. Item 29 is a physical map collection of your local area and surrounding regions. GPS can be jammed or spoofed during major geopolitical events, exactly the kind of events currently unfolding globally. If your navigation fails during an evacuation or emergency, a physical map and an analog compass are the backup that does not require batteries, signal, or infrastructure. This is one of the most genuinely invisible vulnerabilities in the average American household right now. Item 30 is rechargeable batteries paired with a quality solar-powered battery charger. During any extended power outage, the household that can keep AA and 8AA batteries topped up is the household that keeps radios, flashlights, children's essential devices, and small medical equipment running while everyone around them runs out. A solar battery charger pays for itself after just a few recharge cycles compared to the ongoing cost of disposable batteries, and it continues paying for itself indefinitely. Item 31 is a complete fire-starting kit with redundant methods. Waterproof matches, a reliable butane lighter, a quality ferro rod with a striker, and dry tinder sealed in a waterproof container. Fire means warmth, cooked food, purified water through boiling, light, and a signal for help when needed. Multiple redundant methods ensure you are never completely without the ability to create fire, regardless of which specific tool fails. Item 32 is cut-resistant, heavy-duty leather, or Kevlar reinforced work gloves. When you cannot afford to hire help for physical repairs, yard clearing, firewood processing, or emergency cleanup, and in a stretched economic environment, many households cannot, your hands are your most important tool. A hand injury in that context is one of the most financially devastating things that can happen to a working adult. Protect your hands. This is one of the most chronically overlooked items in any preparedness kit. Item 33 is a physical library of practical books, a comprehensive first aid and wilderness medicine manual, a food preservation and canning guide, a basic home repair handbook, a gardening and seed saving reference, at least one general survival manual. When the grid is down, you cannot search for instructions online. The knowledge you need to fix something, grow food, treat an injury, or improvise a solution needs to be sitting on your shelf right now, not behind a paywall or a failed internet connection. And for households with children, physical books serve double duty. They preserve knowledge and they keep kids occupied and grounded when stress levels are high and everything else is powered off. Item 34 is the final item, and it is the one most overlooked even by people who think they are already well prepared. Physical silver coins or small gold coins held at home in a quality, fireproof, waterproof safe. In inflationary or hyperinflationary scenarios, currency loses purchasing power while physical assets maintain it. The most resilient physical asset is paid-off real estate, but for households that cannot buy property, a modest holding of precious metals represents wealth that cannot be printed away, inflated away, or erased by bank failures. A practical starting framework, once your basics are covered, is 20 to 50 ounces of silver for barter and transaction use. Store it alongside your cash reserve and critical documents in a fire-rated, waterproof safe bolted to your structure. Now here is the thing I want you to understand about all 34 of these items together. This is not about fear, it is about freedom. Every single item on this list transfers economic leverage away from a system that is under enormous pressure right now and puts it back into your hands. The data supporting that pressure is real, it is current, and it is not going away quickly. The people who act on even 10 of these 34 items are going to be in a fundamentally different position 6 months from now than the people who watch this and do nothing. Not just in a survival scenario, but in monthly savings, reduced stress, and the quiet confidence of knowing that the next supply chain headline is information rather than panic. That psychological buffer is real, and it has genuine value that no dollar amount can fully capture. If your budget is limited right now, start with water filtration and a solar generator. Then layer in food storage, communications equipment, fire and light supplies, and medical preparedness. Work your way steadily down the list over the coming weeks. Partial preparedness beats zero preparedness by an enormous margin every single time. Before you go, if this video helped you, please share it with one person you care about. That one share costs you nothing, and it could make a genuine difference for someone who has not started yet. Leave a comment below telling me which item you're buying first. I read every comment, and your engagement helps this channel reach more families who need this information. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe right now and hit the bell, because the next video in this series is going to cover exactly how to prioritize these purchases by budget level, and you do not want to miss it. The window is open right now, the items are available, the prices are still manageable. The only question is whether you're going to move before the next wave arrives, or explain to yourself later why you did not.